The bird lunged its head forward and plucked Mr. Hadley's right eye clean from his head.
Damn, that nigga Nick Fury now.
Mr. Davidson's corpse on the floor, and there, floating just above him, was a young girl. She was pale, semi-transparent. Her hair was pulled back in 2 pigtails.
Hey, but she got her get back.
To the right side of her scalp was a hair clip, and on that hair clip was a daisy. You're Daisy. That's right. People have said you were close to Mr. Hartfield, but I've never heard him talk about you. Oh?
He doesn't ever talk about me. He's gonna break my little heart.
Do you want to know why he doesn't talk about me? Do you want to know what happened here 30 years ago? She lifted a ghostly hand and pointed to Mr. Hartfield's room. That where the old principal, you know.
No, Daniel. It's where Mr. Hartfield, you know. No. Yes, Daniel. He stuffed my body in old Mr. Calloway's office and had him framed for murder. And now I need you to bring Mr. Hartfield out here so we can...
She placed a hand over her throat.
Talk.
What? Word.
I don't understand. Why can't you just go in there yourself? The air turned even colder, and the hallway grew darker. I can't go in there. Did you know what he did to me in there? Voice of Daisy all around me. She was screaming and crying.
Please don't do this! Someone help!
Then the scream turned into the sounds of choking, then silence. Bring Mr. Hartfield out here. But he was always so kind to me.
Kind to you? Did you not hear what I just said?
But you're gonna kill him.
Nigga, you finna get murked too, bro.
Daniel, he has to pay for what happened. Bring him out here so that justice can prevail.
I felt the very air grow hostile. Daisy's pigtails came undone, and her hair began to writhe. Her eyes turned into soulless pits.
Innocent? I am the only innocent one. I am the power of the powerless, the victims of the world.
The lockers around us burst open and closed repeatedly. She was going to kill me. She was going to kill everyone.
Easy!
Everything stopped. The school supplies and chunks of debris spiraling around Daisy all froze in the air. Mr. Hartfield had taken a step outside of his classroom. I must pay for what I did to you. Not a day has gone by that I don't feel like I'm drowning in shame. I'm sorry, Daisy. Daisy walked through the air, even afraid.
She gonna kill him, bro.
Then she lunged at him with fury. She choked him, not with any supernatural power, but with her own bare hands. Forced to the floor, Mr. Hartfield gasped and sputtered.
Beg!
But Mr. Hartfield didn't beg. He writhed for a little while. Then he was still. His open eyes stared at nothing. Daisy sobbed softly for a moment. Then she vanished. The darkness covering the school went with her, and daylight returned. All the objects floating in the air fell back to the floor. I could...
That shit crazy, bro.
Even now, I can't understand why Mr. Hartfield went so willingly. He had let an innocent man rot in jail for 30 years, never once owning up to his crime. I can't reconcile the kind of man I knew with the man who did such a horrible thing to a little girl. The past came with determined wrath to reconcile it itself.
That was insane. Last one, guys. Story 3. The zoo.
While partially listening to the chatter from the television set in the living room that my father was watching.
Mysterious disappearance at the San Francisco Zoo. Investigation underway.
Sam? My father called from the other room. Have you and your friends heard anything about this? I rolled my eyes. Heard about what, Dad?
These zoo animals just disappeared overnight.
Apparently, every kid on my bus had a concerned, news-obsessed father as well. The high schoolers were spinning their own wild conspiracy theories. One student claimed that aliens had abducted the animals to conduct research. Another saying that a religious cult had exhausted their supply of animals for ritual sacrifices and were seeking to replenish it. That day, we were discussing Hamlet. Mr. Jameson was drawing comparisons between it and the Lion King. He showed us a clip from the movie. It was frozen on the lion's open mouth. We heard a ferocious roar. Mr. Jameson looked around in confusion. Is the audio working when the video won't load? He muttered.
Cause it's behind you in real life. Finna tear your shit up, what?
Screaming. There was screaming coming from the hallway. We heard another spine-tingling roar. Then there was a piercing ringing sound. Our school's alarm system.
This is an emergency lockdown. There are predators loose in the school.
It was the school janitor, and she was screaming, banging on the door. Her face was torn open, 3 long gashes pouring blood. Pulling it open, she fell forward onto the floor. We were all...
I would've kicked that bitch right back through the door, shut the door, lock that bitch, double lock that bitch.
too frightened to even move. I saw that her back also had large gashes on it. Lion, with bulging muscles, sunk its teeth into her back leg and dragged her screaming from the room. Saw the lion tear off a chunk of flesh from the janitor's thigh. Her screams were worse than the lion's roar. Mr. Jameson was dialing 911. We overheard an automated voice say something about a large volume of calls, and no one picked up the phone. His face dropped, and he looked up at us and said, "I'm sure someone is coming to help. We just need to stay," and there was a thunder at the door. The whole room shook. The room shook again, and the wall around the door began to show cracks. Something was hurling itself against the door. A final thunderous sound sent the door and parts of the wall. Now gaping hole stood a massive gorilla, larger than I could have ever feared.
Look at his face, bro. He like, what the fuck? Oh my god. Hey, it's a monkey. It's a monkey. Like, run, bro. Why you looking scared, bro? Run, that nigga finna eat you, bro. He finna beat you up.
It picked him up with its massive hand,
Oh, he finna rip his arm off.
holding one of his arms in each hand. Mr. Jameson was screaming and kicking at the beast, but it didn't seem to even notice his assault. The gorilla began to pull his arms out to the side, like a child trying to pull apart a doll. I heard sinews tearing. Apparently, many students and faculty members had been outside of classrooms when these animals had entered the school. There were now 2 lions feasting on the body of our poor janitor. Fortunately for us, they were distracted, and we slipped right past them. To our left, a group of students were huddled together on top of a table as a large alligator paced around on the floor beneath them. Another
That alligator ain't shit compared to all the other stuff.
group came into view, sprinting down the hall. Behind them, the ground itself seemed to move. A large gathering of serpents slithered across the floor. One of the students at the back of the group was struck on his ankle by a serpent. The student screamed and fell to the floor. Almost instantly, the rest of the serpents swarmed him and coiled around him until only a writhing mass of snakes could be seen. The entrance was crowded with students and teachers. Why weren't they leaving? They had been locked from the outside by a thick metal chain. What is going on? Teachers were hammering against the windows with chairs and various objects they could find, but it was useless. The glass was bulletproof, and even the strongest of our faculty couldn't leave a scratch on the surface. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw our principal pacing back and forth in his office. "Come on, dude," I said to Pablo. "Maybe he knows what's going on." "I'm sorry, boys. I don't know what else to do." "What is happening?" I asked again. "Something malicious. I'm not sure what. But I finally got through to emergency services. The police said that this is happening at almost every school in the Bay Area. It's some kind of terrorist attack. They said they don't know when they'll be able to send anyone our way." It was a video featuring a man sitting in a forest, wearing a metal mask that was half human and half gorilla. He spoke with a deeply modulated voice.
Hello, citizens of the Bay Area. This is OAL, Order of Animal Liberation. For too long, we have been ignored by the public. We have sought peaceful solutions even in the face of genocide. Despite the ruthless slaughter of innocent creatures, we have remained patient, but no longer. You, along with the whole world, are complicit in the abuse and murder of countless animals. Will take your children from you. This is her wrath. She demands blood for the slaughter of her kin. We hope that this will wake you up to the reality of our situation. Let us move forward into a world where humankind and animal kind can exist in harmony.
"You have to be kidding me," I said. These psychos are okay with murdering children? Glass fell through the air like diamonds, and the creature let out a screeching noise.
Get behind me, boys!
An
Mr.
ostrich
Hadley
hurt
shouted.
you?
We obeyed. He held up one of his hands as if to push the bird away. It paused and stared at him. Slowly, he turned, trying to position us closer to the door. The ostrich followed his gaze and cocked its head to the side. The bird lunged its head forward and plucked Mr. Hadley's right eye clean from his head.
Damn, that nigga Nick Fury now.
The bird held the eyeball between its beaks, or tossed back its head and swallowed the eyeball whole. Emerging from the shadows of the left hallway was a massive white rhinoceros.
Where did they get a rhino? Never mind, they got it from the zoo, but like, nigga, a rhino? Never mind. They are doing damage.
It was staring straight at us. I lifted my arms in the air and waved them frantically and shouted to challenge the beast. Then it lowered its head and charged. The ground shook as it charged across the polished floor. My heart was pounding in harmony with the thunderous footsteps of the beast. I wanted to jump away immediately, but I knew I had to wait for the last possible moment. Only then would it go crashing through the front doors. It drew closer, and I was preparing to dive to the right, when suddenly the great beast collapsed as if it had tripped. Its body rolled once over due to its movement. Then it slid across the floor and stopped right at our feet. It was dead. Help finally arrived an hour later. The police cut open the door and helped everyone out. The ambulances that arrived could do nothing but transport lifeless bodies.
Damn.
Days later, the full story came out on the news. The OAL had released deadly animals into many school districts across the Bay Area. To ensure a bloody outcome, they had given all the animals a serum that enraged them and heightened their aggressive behavior. But they apparently hadn't tested it well, because it eventually induced a heart attack in every animal they had set loose, knowing that the leader of this terrorist group hadn't been caught by
That
authorities.
dude looks so ugly, bro.
I walk downstairs to the kitchen. Our dog barks at me as I enter. That sound, that raw, animalistic sound, brings back every image of mutilation I had seen 3 weeks prior. I collapse on the ground and sob. Thanks for watching. You can watch another scary animation here.
Well, guys, that was weird. Thank you guys for watching these videos and sticking with me. We were almost at 300 subs. We need to get to 500. You know what I'm saying? That's the goal of 500. And we're at a total of 10,000 views. Our next goal is to reach 100,000 views on this channel. Okay, we can do that. You guys just like, comment, and share. You know what I'm saying? Like, comment, and share. That's all you guys gotta do, bro. We're gonna run this. We're gonna run this up. You know what I'm saying? If you guys like the reaction videos, let me know. Like, please let me know, because my first video to ever hit 1,000 views was a reaction video that I dropped like a week ago. So if you guys want the reaction videos, I'm gonna just keep on giving it to you. Okay? All right, guys. Hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.